Hey guys, it's Merrick. I've got another gameplay commentary for here today. This one, we are yet again on Planetside 2, this time on NC using the NS15. I apologize for the delay in the video, but a good friend of mine who I used to play Overwatch with decided on the last day of the Marvel Rivals beta, which was Monday, that we were going to try to get to Diamond. And not only did we make it to Diamond, but we were actually just a few games outside of the top 500 when the beta ended. This, however, took about 14 hours of games, so it was a little tapped and I didn't exactly get around to making the video. Sorry about that. We decided next time we're going to start doing ranked before the very last day when the beta's closing, and try to give it a little bit more than a passing thought. We were just trying to get to Diamond, but we didn't realize how close we were going to be to top 500. So, on to the loadout. I'm using the NS15 with the forward grip and, as always, high velocity. This time I'm running the suppressor, and because I'm running the suppressor, I'm pairing that with sensor shield. The NS15 is a very low recoil gun anyway, so you don't need the compensator, so the suppressor is a perfect addition to help keep you stealthy and off of the radar. Sensor shield doubles down on that. A lot of players will look at the radar to see where their next targets should be, and this will help buy you a lot of extra time. It's really hard to explain without actually running it, because it's hard to see the direct impact until you play a bit with and without it to see how much more often you're running into people that are prepared for you. Due to some cosmic fortune, there's not a whole lot of vehicles, but also because I'm not running Survivalist, I'm actually running ASC. ASC is superior because it gives you a shorter duration before your shield begins to regen, and then when it does start to regen, it will regen fast. Survivalist reduces the speed that your shield will regen from baseline, but it does not increase the regen rate, so you're still out of fights a little longer. I'm very fond of Survivalist because if your shield breaks but you happen to be retreating around a corner, you get a little bit of a heal that can save you from using medkits, but it's preference, and ASC is probably better for taking consistent ongoing fights, so long as you can manage to keep yourself contained during the downtime that you're going to have while regenning. But we start this gameplay commentary off at Gahanan Research Lab. Reminder that due to excessive stupidity on my part, this video is lacking in-game volume that nobody on stream let me know about because we were busy chatting about other various topics. But I push out of spawn with the NS15, immediately catch somebody trying to get a res on an infiltrator, and get a cleanup on two of them. After running around for a little bit, I head down the stairs and out towards the red dots on the minimap, where I'm able to pick up another guy across the little ravine here before I push up onto the bridge. I do a little bit of rotating around, trying to figure out where these guys died from, and eventually do see someone getting ready to cross the bridge, so I just wait for him to peek out into me yet again. I check my back for any infills, but then I see them start to get onto the bridge on the minimap, so I turn, see a guy across the bridge to pick him up, pick up a light assault that's floating across, but then I see the other bridge is collapsing, so I take a glance over that way and try to pick up a few people there. I take a bunch of shots, only manage to get one of them, but then I see someone on the minimap pushing onto my bridge. I'm able to pick him up, and seeing that the other bridge seems to have stalled out a little bit, I wait for this guy to get back up because I did see somebody heading over to res him. I do get him on his res, and all the guys that pushed across the bridge kind of dissipated and got let out, so I don't have to worry about them. Eventually though, I do push across, and while I'm trying to catch these guys from the high ground, I accidentally begin sliding down the ledge. I manage to not slide down, juke this man as he takes out somebody next to me, and I trade him out. Then I try to pick up this last guy, but somebody else gets the finishing blow on him, so I back up and head somewhere else as they kill the Sunder. I spawn to a bunch of dead blue guys. I get ready to take this fight with the guy in the corner, and I think I hit most of my shots up until that grenade caused a bunch of screen shake, which fucked me. So I try to rotate around the other way, find a few people at off angles, manage to catch an infiltrator crossing the road, but then I'm forced to back up. I wait a little bit for anybody to fight me, nobody does, and as I'm backing up, somebody jumps off the ledge above me, but right as he does, my recursion decides that this time that I tried to check my stats about a minute and a half ago, it's finally caught up with me, so it shows up and just cheats me out of a kill. I move on to Haid Skydock, which is incredibly one-sided in the population, so I can't really leave the spawn room. I see somebody up in the trees. I try to be cheesy and hit him with a rocket, but that doesn't reach, so I just pick him off with the NS15, and there's no way to really leave spawn as they rolled up tanks, so I head off somewhere else, which takes me to Woodman Lab, which seems to also be in the middle of a clusterfuck. I respawn as they're trying to push the Sunderer, and I try to see if I can't get a better position to help secure the Sunderer. I don't know if we're going to be able to push because it seems like we're grossly outnumbered, but maybe I can get some kills here if I can get a good position. So I take a tight angle on a rock, try to pick up somebody crossing the road, but I have to back up as it seems like they're pushing on the left. I get in a good spot to pick off somebody who was pushing on the left, but I forget to ever let my recoil reset, so I make it look really hard to even get the trade kill as I do get taken out. But I respawn yet again, trying to get some of this pressure off the Sunderer, hoping there can be a real push here. I get a decent angle on some people pushing up to the tree, but don't manage to get any of the takeouts. and as I try to deal with somebody who jumps up into a tree, I get long ranged from a medic pretty much closer to the point, so I decide it's time to go somewhere else. And as I show up at Kessel's Crossing, with what seems to be the theme of today, the Sunder is already under assault, so I managed to help take out the enemy Sunder that was already weak. I pick up the one VS that was with him, it seems to be an engineer. I look around for anybody else, and right as I go to back up again, somebody does materialize behind me, but I'm able to pick him up before I go pushing onto point, where I'm able to get one guy on point, and then it seems like all of the pressure actually has gone. After a little bit of running around, they put up another Sunder off onto the side, so I do a little bit of scouting around before taking some long-range shots at it, but it looks like there's a ton of blue guys on top of it, so after I get my one kill, I decide to back off and see if there's anything else. I run around the entire point a few times before rotating back towards where the Sunderer was. I'm able to pick up a infiltrator who thought they were sneaky, and then seeing that the fight is absolutely dead, I head off to Kahana Tech Plant. Yet again, I spawn on a Sunder under distress, I help secure a kill on a light assault, and as I go to push towards the tech plant, I see more damage being thrown onto the Sunder, so I back up. I peek out and throw some damage on a guy in the doorway, miss all of my shots, throw some bullets down farther range onto a guy at the other corner, and as I re-peek out on a predictable timing, I walk right into a rocket. Unfortunate times to not have flak armor. I respawn on the Sunderer, am able to clean up the guy on the corner, but the Sunderer dies, so I rotate around really quick, cleaning up the rest of them before trying to make my way into the tech plant itself. I wrap through the building they were using to attack, and I try to take some shots on somebody who runs by, but he re-peeks, having actually seen me. I do manage to get the takeout on him with some help from somebody else, and then continue towards the tech plant. I check the second floor to make sure that I'm not going to get murdered crossing this field, and then I just take out that Sunderer cargo spawn because it's one of the first times I've seen it. I am, however, able to take out a medic on a long-range angle. I jump over the gate, but I miss the jump across onto the balcony itself, so I run around and up, which gives me a decent angle on some people that are trying to defend the balcony. I take a long-range fight against somebody with a scout rifle, and I don't disengage when I see the scout rifle because I'm stubborn and stupid, so I complain about it for a little while I try to find somewhere else to go, which leads me to tack on storage. As I go to push up towards point, I see some red dots on the left side of the building, so I try to peek them, and I do catch them before they would have wrapped on me. When I'm taking the fight with them, I get shot in the back. I double check to make sure it's not an enemy, it's just somebody living free in the NC. I'm still able to win my fight, but as a light assault ambusher jump jets past me, I don't track correctly, and I lose a fight that I could potentially have lived. But as I respawn and push back up, I get engaged on from the railing. I am able to make it to some safe under position just before I die, and somebody else cleans up the guy directly above me, so I swing close, use the railing itself, and pick off some people in the background before catching a stray infiltrator shot. Between the infiltrator on that flank and the pressure outside, I can't exactly go outside because there's no cover, so I have to go inside of the building. I try to catch somebody on one of these tight angles, but they peek right as I throw a nade. I do not manage to get any trade, I just die for free. Somebody does pick me up, and I wait for this man to re-peek. I'm able to win the re-peek fight, and then, seeing that I'm not going to get a whole lot done here, I instead wrap all the way around to cover the other doorway because I see a lot of red dots on that. By the time I get there, they've wrapped around to the back of the building. I swing close onto them and catch a medic who's rezzing before I continue to push and clean up the rest of the red dots. Then I advance up the right side of the building, hoping to see a slightly better pushing angle than we had before. There's enough blue here that we do seem to be able to make a push, and most of the red that are prepared seem to be on the left side of the garage that we were just in, so I wrap around this side, try to pick some people off on the close angle that are taking a tight fight into the garage. I'm able to pick off a few of them there, and then I push across to cut off the angle from those guys shooting over the railing. I see a res come up, so I pick this guy off as he gets up again, and as I take an extended fight with somebody over the railing because I can't fucking aim, an infiltrator intervenes and outskills me by shooting me as a stealth. I respawn and push up the same side, manage to get back to the same position, but this time there's a max on that angle. I'm able to kill one of the engineers, but it looks like there might be another one, so I just hold my position as best I can and lob rockets at him, hoping to catch him off guard with enough damage that he just falls over, or that the medic behind him just doesn't manage to keep him up. I realize I'm probably not going to be able to kill him because nobody else is really hitting him, so I try to peek a different angle to give him time to move around. I'm hoping that the engineer behind him reveals himself long enough for me to find and shoot him, but he doesn't. So I re-peek, drop some more shots into him, kind of again hoping somebody else will shoot him, but as I go to heal myself, I see an infiltrator in the distance. Thankfully, the infiltrator has no plan in his mind except for to shoot people out of stealth, so he has no idea that I can actually see him standing there. I get an easy cleanup on him, and by the time I peek back to the max, somebody else seems to have finally dealt with him. So I'm finally able to push up to this point building. I push up to the point building and pick somebody off over the balcony, and as I'm trying to pressure somebody else, someone swings the doorway and I'm able to get the pick up on them. I'm basically looking for somebody to peek the balcony and let me get a pick on them, or for there to be so little pressure on the balcony that I can wrap around. Seems like there's not a lot of pressure, and I am able to swing in following this other blue guy, trade him out, and then get onto point, where I promptly see basically nothing for a little while and almost get ready to redeploy. I see somebody pushing around as I get the shield up, take him out, and right as I'm about to redeploy yet again, another infiltrator runs into the doorway in stealth and dies for free. Realizing that people are slowly trickling in, I stop my redeploy and just see what else I can find, because there was really nothing else in the map. So I spend a little bit of time picking up 1s and 2s as they walk into this room trying to get in through the side door. Because I'm playing solo and I don't really trust anybody anyway, after every few kills I go rotating around to check the other doorways to make sure they're fine. Somehow somebody got inside and onto the ledge and would have had a good angle to clear out a bunch of people, but I'm able to win that fight. Unfortunately, at the same time that he pushed through, so did a light assault, and they toss a C4 over the edge, and I step right on it. I get rezzed and hopefully try to catch this guy off guard, but not having shield or energy, I just walk out of the shield into a bad fight and predictably lose. So I move from there to a different Sunder that is already, as the theme of today, under siege. I wind up getting absolutely murdered, but by the second time I respawn on it, they have been cleared off, so I push into the point, don't see anything, and start rotating around the sides to get pickoffs as people try to trickle in. I catch one person in the side building that is closest to their respawn and vehicle terminal, and then as I push up to grab a second one, I don't see anybody else, so I go to rotate back towards point, and the instant I turn around, somebody walks up the other staircase and gets a free kill on me. By the time I get back, there is a little bit more pressure on point, so I push down the stairs, manage to pick off one guy on the left, but seeing a bunch of purple dots on this corner, I try to push the corner and clear them up. They don't seem to be pushing hard, so I just clear up one guy in the side before heading back to the door by the staircase, clean up 2 people on the push out there, and after a little bit of rotating and nobody peeking, I push out aggressively and catch someone on an off angle off guard. As I go back inside, I see bullets coming from another doorway that pick off a few people in our building, so I just prepare for that guy to peek out, and I catch him when he does so. And after a little bit of no pressure, I push out aggressively, trying to find someone on an off angle again, but this time they were shooting at somebody else, so they were ready for me, and I just walked straight into them and died. But we do manage to cap the point, so I move on to another one, which takes me to a fight at Gahanan Eastern Gatehouse. I spawn at a Sunderer and immediately push towards point, and as I'm approaching, I see somebody on the staircase. I try to take him out from an angle here, but I completely whiff all of my shots. I dump a nade hoping he just stands on it, and I wait for somebody to re-peek into me. I see some people taking shots at others, but nobody really peeks into me, so I just approach not up the staircase, but somewhere with a slightly bit more cover, to the side of the staircase. I'm able to catch them off guard and get some shots into the room from the balcony. I manage to luck out as somebody tries to chase me down, and I manage to get the commissioner out on him before re-engaging on the balcony and trying to push back in from the side. Rather than pushing straight up because I know that there is somebody on the roof, I try to play a slightly farther back angle, waiting for these guys on the roof to peek me. They never really do, so I do eventually push up to the balcony close and push in from that side. I happen to check my corners and see somebody on that corner, get the free pickup because he's not paying attention, and the rest of them seem pretty oblivious to me here because between the suppressor and the sensor shield, I'm not showing up on the minimap, and apparently nobody called out that they got flanked. So I'm able to clean up the majority of this room, and that's going to bring our session to a close with 65 kills in 31 minutes. I think a fair amount of my deaths were just due to bad timing or bad luck, as somebody would peek or show up right when I'm looking away, or be an infiltrator that happens to be on my angle that I can't react to because they're in stealth with a sniper rifle. The others were because I was running with a good bit of momentum, I got a bit done, and I just got greedy and kept pushing until it stopped working. Momentum is an important thing to get used to, but you don't want to be reckless and push it until it fails. As always though, let me know what you do like, let me know what you don't like, let me know what you think so I can improve my videos moving forwards. Thank you guys for your continued support, and I'll see you next time.